The book of Psalms is truly remarkable in many different ways, and many of these psalms come from the heart of a shepherd boy, and he gives us great insight into the very soul of this man after God's own heart. In one of the psalms, Psalm 107, we find a phrase repeated time and again. The psalmist said, "Oh, that men would give thanks to the Lord for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men." We find this statement in Psalm 107 in verse 1, verse 8, verse 15, verse 21, and verse 31. And what we find is that this phrase makes a natural division of 5 situations in this psalm where men should be filled with thanksgiving. The first section, which is verses 1 through 7, shows us thanksgiving for redemption. This first section describes the times when God brought Israel from adversity and returned them back to the land that he had promised to Abraham's descendants. And while it is true that the sin of God's people often was the reason that they were scattered, the psalm shows just how merciful God is toward his children. Those who were redeemed from the nations could so readily sing this psalm of thanksgiving, because they had been redeemed from their captors. The second section shows us thanksgiving for souls which have been refreshed. Here the psalmist looks at the souls which had been brought low by the adversity that was around them. Their souls were filled with darkness, which was the result of ignoring God, and they're bound up in their afflictions. Yet when they cried out to God, he heard them. Their souls were filled with blessings that he gave to them, and their lives were turned into joy because his mercy gave them what they had been missing. The psalmist said, "Give thanks to the Lord for his wonderful works." The third section, which is verses 15 through 20, show us thanksgiving for deliverance to those who were at the gates of death. This section parallels thoughts that are found in the previous section of those who were surrounded by distress. They were so burdened that they could not even eat. Yet when they cried out to the Lord, he heard them and saved them out of all of their afflictions. Oh, that men would give thanks to the Lord for his goodness, the psalmist cries out. The psalmist then turns his attention to those who sailed the seas and found themselves surrounded by tempestuous waves. Here we see thanksgiving from those who were being tossed by the seas of life. And as the waves lifted them to the heavens and then dropped them back to the depths of the sea, hope could so easily be lost. At their wits' end, they cried out to God. He heard their cries and he calmed the storms, bringing them back to a position of safety. And then we see thanksgiving from those who assemble to worship in the company of elders. The mercy of God is shown in the fruitful seasons where he waters the wilderness and feeds his people. Their crops increase and their herds multiply. He exalts the poor. Oh, that men would give thanks for all that God does. The imagery in this psalm is different from what is around us, but the lesson to us is one that is so obvious. We need to be giving thanks each and every day to God for all that he has done for us. In our nation, today is a day that has been set aside as a day of thanksgiving. And while it is wonderful on this day to stop and reflect upon all of the blessings that God has bestowed upon us, we don't need to reserve those thoughts for just this one day of the year. We need to be thankful to God each and every day for all that he has done for us. I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving Day today. I hope that you're able to spend time with your family and your friends. And I hope that God blesses you with a wonderful day. And remember always, give thanks to God for all that he has done for us.